Alright guys, we finally have our best of 5 underway now that all the lobby stuff has been fixed. In the top left, we have Storm Gaming's MaxPax. MaxPax. Okay. Upon him right, it is HeRoMaRinE. And I was talking about food, so let me go ahead and get the bets up. So HeRoMaRinE had a little bit of trouble versus Skillous. Skillous was displaying some new fangled and sometimes actually old fangled sentry openers, but he was clearly still trying to iron out a lot of the hiccups of those builds, which I think is absolutely fascinating. I'm really happy I got to see that. But it's not hammered out yet. It doesn't look like a armor plate. It's just a bunch of dented metal. So it didn't really go the distance. HeRoMaRinE still won out. He is a clever pro, and he can change to accommodate what he's up against. Even though we typically consider HeRoMaRinE a macro player, he has really become quite flexible in the last, gosh, like 3 years. It's been a long time since I've considered HeRoMaRinE inflexible. And he does have now different styles that I think he feels wholly comfortable with, as opposed to feeling... It would sometimes, 4 years ago even, feel like he felt uncomfortable doing some things. And now it just doesn't really, it's, I don't even think about it. But MaxPax is a totally different beast than Skillous. MaxPax, actually, despite what we know him as for his PvP as being an innovator and, I'm just gonna lose that probe now. He really wanted to see what the follow-up was for the reactor or Reaper. And it is a reactor, so he at least got the scout. Anywho, when it comes to PvT, he is really decided to hone in on the 4-gate Blink Stalker. I mean, good lord. To a point that I feel like sometimes it's bad, but he does make it work. He does 4-gate Blink a lot, and I think what he's developing, the same way that he developed his PvP defensive style, he'd fix everything that came along and say, okay, I know that's going to happen potentially. I'm going to prepare for that potentially. I think he's doing it with Blink Stalkers. I think he's been doing it for years. He's just trying to make the 4-gate appear like an opener. So even though we don't get it for Dragon Scales, I do 100% anticipate in a best of 5 between these two. I'm going to say 2. I'm going to go with 2. I'm going to be a little conservative. 2 Blink Stalker 4-gates. But not today, not right now anyways. Not in this game. It's going to be Phoenix opener. Well, I'm assuming Phoenix. It's going to be Stargate opener. We'll see if it's in a Phoenix. HeRoMaRinE has absolutely 0 scouting. Right? He skipped the Reaper. He doesn't go for an SCV scout. It's a 1-Rex expands. He's got not much to go off of. Currently, what he sees is 2 Adepts. Now, that's already pushing your mind towards a Stargate opener. Because so often it is more than 1 Adept Stargate, only 1 Adept, they're building Stalkers or even Sentries back at home. And going into Twilight Council or whatever Skillous is doing, right? Now HeRoMaRinE, even with that potential thought in his brain that it could be Phoenix, as he knows it could be anything right now, so why couldn't it be Phoenix, is still going to go for a Raven. And also bop both Adepts. That's a nice pick off there. Besides the now lack of scouting from MaxPax, just straight up 2 units that aren't going to be helpful. They just died without a trade. But yeah, Raven, while again, the potential is there, is potentially risky. But we also know that, for instance, the Koreans seem to just love getting Ravens no matter what. And the Raven is even kind of upgrading itself to almost a why not unit. It's not quite there. It's still kind of pricey. It still takes up time on your starport, all those good things. But it really has changed from an almost forced position where you're like, oh, I guess I gotta get a Raven. To being a, well, why not get a Raven? Like, it'd probably be helpful. Like, it's kind of amazing what has become of, what, a 7-second decrease in time for build time now? And a reduction in cost as well. Phoenix have finally revealed themselves. HeRoMaRinE, as I'd said, might have anticipated thoughts of this possibility, but he had no way to guarantee that he knew what was going on. So he's gonna have to now protect the Raven, which so far he's done very correctly. He's going to want to swap off from building tanks, which he's already on his way to doing. And then next step would be trying to figure out what's Phoenix into what's. Phoenix into Charge, Phoenix into Colossus, all these things that he doesn't actually know too much about. He did see what I would consider maybe a later third Nexus. And then if you were going to power up to 3 bases immediately, very light on the gas, delay your Robo, and still build your other Phoenix that you want to build. So he might be able to infer from that. And then the Raven would be especially helpful against Colossus. So that's interference matrix of plenty, right? It's now a little bit more useless against charge lot play with Phoenix. So I actually was talking to Clem about this, and he says that, yeah, you know, when you got a Raven against Phoenix charge in the previous patch, it could still be kind of okay, because the auto turrets would tank so much that it'd still be helpful. But now, he really doesn't see a reason to do it if you were to know that it's Phoenix Charge, because the auto turret's durability is considerably less. And I thought that was an interesting point. But anywho, it's always been potentially very good against Phoenix Colossus because of the interference matrix. Because of the implication. Because of the interference matrix. It's just a question of actually getting the Raven over there. So MaxPax will be hunting for not just the Raven, but also for any type of SCV pool. So we still got to keep that in mind. HeRoMaRinE definitely does it. And then anything else he can grab, right? Marauders, Medivacs, it's all fantastic. He sees a potential push on the way. He's not scouted the new 3rd CC building. I mean, actually wouldn't be surprised if SCV's whirlpooled into this. HeRoMaRiNE's not really going any farther in the economy account. Oh, I think this is supposed to be a 3rd CC. So it's happening, but it is significantly delayed. This is after he's already starting to build up to Vikings, which he's doing kind of quickly. He's only on 2 Medivacs. That is usually a bit low in the Medivac count. Most people would say the golden number is 4. That would be your bare minimum at least. But he has opted to go into Vikings. So that's interesting. I think he was anticipating the Colossus. His 1 interference matrix goes off, but it's not a particularly helpful one. The Raven dies, not going to be able to get the second that it had in its pocket. And it wasn't particularly helpful because, of course, the army could just back away without still really lending it a vulnerability to any particular point. So it is starting to lead to a vulnerable natural, though, as you can see. It's a very dangerous push forward for HeRoMaRinE. The Phoenix could swoop in, get the tanks, and the army could collapse on the Terran army, which would have very little wiggle room afterwards. So far, that is not happening. The Colossus pops out, is looking to hold the line. Colossus number 3 is going to be denied completely. And those Phoenix were not actually particularly helpful. They're going to try and come in now to help, but this is all over the place, literally. And none of it in favor of MaxPax. Yeah, those Phoenix, they're beep-bopping around here, I guess looking to protect the Colossus when it spawns, meanwhile taking damage, losing their numbers. And then their attempt to go and find those tanks was obvious. You know, it was very easy to read what was going to happen there, and it was so easy to deny because so many Phoenix had already died. The DPS is insane, though. If it's like the same DPS in the air, they actually might be the go-to anti-air unit. That'd be really weird. Because they could shoot the air and chase after any High Templars trying to run away. No, I think that'd be way too strong. No. No. Plus, do we really want to make Swarm Host any stronger? I don't think we do. I think even if you argue that they should be, do you really want to? I am not about that one. Ancient Cistern for game number 2 of this TVP. Top right, MaxPax. Bottom left, HeRoMaRinE. MaxPax had, I mean, all of the information that one could grab to defend against that. But I think what really tripped him up was the map. And I think we're going to see that displayed even going up until Katowice. So again, to be super clear, the pro gamers have known about the map pool even before we did, right? So it's been like 3 weeks of playing on the Open Cup with the new map pool. They knew about 2 weeks prior to that. So they have been practicing secretly for 1 or 2 weeks against each other on the new maps. And then it became kind of a weird gray area where they're like, we're going to stream on them, but, you know, we don't know if these are the new maps, guys. And then finally Blizzard came out and was like, hey, you're going to have new maps. So they've been training on these new maps. So let's go ahead and just say for at least a month. All right, that's fair. That's fair. I also think that's a fair amount of time to repair. So in that way, I don't really have any ill will against ESL. I think the ill will is more just not implemented on ladder, so that they had to find customs and ladder was effectively dead. That was problematic as time went on. Anyways, even with a month, I still think you're going to find players on certain maps, in certain situations, falter a little bit more than they would on their favorite, most played, never vetoed map for the 6-month ladder season, you know, map pool season, right? Like that's going to be like the back of your hand, which apparently you know really well, but I would say I don't, but that's the same. So I do want to put that in there. And then on, you know, maybe not even that. Maybe yes, he actually did play on that map many times versus that exact push in those exact positions. Sure. Nonetheless, was that map easier to defend that type of push? No. When we look at that map, we look at the situation, I think we can envision it in our minds as we watch a typical TVP build here. And I think we can all kind of agree, oh yeah, that would be difficult. Okay, I see how that would be difficult. And that map is definitely difficult for those defenses. Because even if you take the other base as the Protoss, any race, they're so large and they're so far apart from your natural that it's even, I don't like that map in TVT especially, where just blitzing through the middle is a really common tactic. So yeah, we're going to have to consider that at all times, watching this TVP unfold. Because I really didn't think MaxPax was in a poor position to deal with that. I really didn't. I thought he was going to prepare, he was going to have shield batteries, he was going to take his time, blah, 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 blah. And then he just got absolutely slaughtered. Zealot comes forward. I would still say this is the typical TVP because it is MaxPax. So he did not put a forward-placed gateway to accelerate this push. Nonetheless, presumably, chronoed out a Zealot. It has died for the cause. Delayed the command center for about half a second. And then hoping that there would be more damage on top of that. However, HeRoMaRinE did skip the Reaper this game, went right into Reactor by the looks of things. And as such, very, very beginning would have less production, right? You'd have nothing. As soon as that reactor's down, your production's actually pretty good. So if MaxPax was hoping to snowball a little bit more, one less Marine, or two less Marines and a Reaper that's out of place. Now that's a big change. HeRoMaRinE predicting further aggression actually came up on the Adepts on the ramp. Wasn't quite perfectly timed, but still well-timed enough. The Marines will ultimately win against the Adepts. We're probably hoping to stop the Adept from being able to shade, but you know what? Didn't even try to shade. Just decided to live. And it does live. It doesn't know what's following this up. Seeing that many Marines, I think you might be able to tell that there's a second barracks at the very least. Don't quite know if it's a 3 barracks build or a 2-on-1 though. That's still questionable. MaxPax is going into a 3-4 gates. Nailed it, guys. That's number 1. And I think there'll be a 2. But this 4 gate against what HeRoMaRiNE's doing, let's look at it for a second. It's going into a 3 racks, but it wasn't the 3 racks that we would think about a lot of the times, where you get those extra 2 immediately. It was like 1, then 2, then 3. Factory is only just now finishing, so Tech Lab has to be added, and Tank has to be produced to actually help against a 4 gate. And HeRoMaRiNE has been consistently not scouting in this entire tournament, I guess. He didn't do it versus Skilless either. So he has no idea that he's about to be 4-gated. He should be very wary of it, because MaxPax is a 4-gate blinker. But I think he might have temporarily forgotten, perhaps more so anticipating some type of tricky Phoenix build or tricky Sentry thing like Skilless was doing. He has forgotten the standard straight-up old MaxPax Special, which is 4-gate blink. Because not having that bunker prepared in the natural or one in the main seems like a bit too risky to me. And HeRoMaRiNE is just trying to salvage the situation. He did have a mighty number of SCVs, so losing 10 does not put him behind, actually. He's still only behind by 4. That's perfectly fine for 2 mules. But now, can he sustain long enough? Can he live long enough to get enough bio? Doesn't look like it to me. He's gonna have to pull the SCVs again at the very least. He's gone into a 3 racks, 3-1-1. His production in the beginning was decent. As it went on, it was meh. and nothing is covering, you know, supposedly the lack of production, like a tank would cover a lot of your army supply. SEV pool plus stim with a couple of Marauders does look pretty good. There's maybe a chance for HeRoMaRinE. Medevacs pop out, plus 1 attack will eventually finish. Bunker's gonna tank some damage, very important there. I think more CVs have to be pulled, actually. The double blink from MaxPax, the blink of the Stalkers, and the Warp Prism Micro. Is it going to be good enough? I don't think it will be for Marauders. Hey, they're pretty good units. They are pretty good. If he could focus fire them, which he just couldn't do because he was microing 2 different times. He was blinking and he was Warp Prism microing. There wasn't really a lot of room there to consistently make all of your Stalkers focus fire the same unit. You could do it once, you have to pick up something, it's no longer focus firing the same unit, right? Whew, that's tough. That is tough. And every single time that MaxPax can't get that overwhelming Stalker number, he is falling way behind. His third Nexus is up, and he is now ahead by 20 workers. That sounds a lot better. But that bio is going to get so freaking strong. I really thought MaxPax was going to have the perfect build against this. HeRoMaRiNE's amount of units was just not very convincing against what a 4-gate Blink Stalker can get up to. But perhaps MaxPax also a little overconfident about it. Maybe should have played a little more passively with some of the blinks. Maybe instead of moving up into the main base, just stayed in the natural. As soon as he doesn't, he's not able to like run away or use his blink defensively, then that's an opportunity for HeRoMaRiNE's SEV plus bio stim to do a lot of damage. That one moment actually might have changed a lot. But now that means that HeRoMaRiNE has bio with combat shields, better upgrades, although temporarily. Third CC, he is down 19 workers, but that's actually still not terrible. 3 mules at a time is going to cover about 12 SCVs. And his bio is still so much stronger than someone who is on pure gateways. MaxPax did just recover from a situation like this versus Spirits in a previous series. However, even though Spirits was on a roll last week, I do consider HeRoMaRiNE to be better in this matchup than Spirit. More likely to deliver the finishing blow. Let's see if I'm right. Shield battery powering away here. Still has an overcharge. There you go. Archon's available. Warp Prism there to help micro need be. HeRoMaRiNE starting to stutter step himself, as that is a decent number of units. Upgrades have evened up, and just, you know, the no Widow Mines, not a lot of Marines. You're not killing the Zealots particularly fast. But then the Marauders are not dying particularly fast either, just to be clear. Fourth base for MaxPax is almost done. In fact, it will be. The Marine's going to scout that. HeRoMaRiNE might change his mode of aggression from just a direct single attack to a multi-pronged attack, which MaxPax, you know, he's got Blink, but what he doesn't have now is a lot of Stalkers. They have been thinned out from the opener. And HeRoMaRiNE doesn't even have to drop. He's literally just sending units across the map. So Stalkers or no, it's going to be difficult to deal with. MaxPax needs to anticipate this and start warping in units, which is exactly what he's doing. But without a shield battery, I'm not sure it's going to be enough. HeRoMaRiNE's got the micro on 2 different fronts. Now just right back and away from the right side. Perhaps focus on the left. Widowmine's Burrow going to help tremendously against the Zealots that were just warped in. But nice of MaxPax to realize that. Just enough units defending that fourth base. The shield battery will finish and help that further. And where do we find ourselves in this game? HeRoMaRiNE still down 17 workers, but, you know, that's 3 base to 4 base, so basically both saturated. MaxPax trying to get into Storm, +2, as HeRoMaRiNE adds on his Ghost Academy and 4th base. Observer's going to see that and know the intention and where the direction of this game is headed. MaxPax has done wonders with Storm, so EMP is going to be problematic for someone who depends a lot on Storms and Archons and Zealots. But we've seen magic made with MaxPax. I mean, the micro just gets better and better and better in StarCraft, so it's a far cry from even parting Marine King Prime, which was a pretty damn good series. It was, but I'd say that, you know, our players are much better than that nowadays. So there's a time where Protoss still tried to do this, and they just got bopped. It was just like, oh no, my totally unmicroed clump of Storms is gone. Oh no. And now we have not just the Warp Prism micro, which has been in I don't know, since parting, actually. So it's been like 10 years, all right? but also that correct concave, the correct surround, the constant being on the map to find these opportunities can be a real magical dance. Magic. HeRoMaRinE pushes on the right side, and that's going to force a recall, which I think he desperately needed. His ghosts are not out quite yet, and they are certainly not prepared, kind of like on a hotkey, ready to go. 3 of them are bunched up. That's an okay number. Definitely want more. See how big the ghost vulnerable army is of the Protoss. All these charge lots, the 2 Archons, more charge lots off to the left, and of course the Storms and the Warp Prism. That's a weakened Marauder army. Need to back away to those Widow Mines. Back away to the reinforcements. It's gonna see more units coming in. The lack of more Stalkers or Disruptors or Colossus is confirming that that is full of High Templars. And there you go. EMP is fantastic alongside the Vikings shooting that down with the help of the Widow Mine. Great stuff there from HeRoMaRinE. He's going to hold on the front lines as well, barely eventually hold against the Zealot run by, which is really mostly just denying the 4th base so far, which is fantastic as MaxPax has been on his 4th base for a while and is actually already on his 5th too. 81 probes for him, still going up in that count, continuing on with his upgrades as well. Is going to have a 3-1 situation, I believe, versus a 2-2 situation. So, well, eventually 2-2 situation. HeRoMaRinE is going to be out upgraded for a little while. And we're heading into late game TVP, where we got the Dark Shrine on the way, the second Robo coming down, HeRoMaRinE adding on his additional barracks. But to be clear, it is barracks, not starports. So still going to go for a mass amount of bio. Not going into any type of Turtle Viking Liberator style. And certainly you don't need that many Vikings as long as Sky Toss isn't available. Maybe some to deal with the Colossus that are now being added in. But the Vikings take care of the Colossus, and by the time you think that that's done, you're like, oh yeah, I did a thing. I beat their Colossus. Woo! They're on the Disruptors, which are much more scary anyways. Zealots plus Shield Bot Overcharge do pretty well. Last second split there from MaxPax too to make sure those Widow Mines didn't do a tremendous amount of damage. The MaxPax is maxed out. HeRoMaRinE still working his way up there, now adding on that at least second starport, which I do definitely think is necessary as we head into late game TVP. The ability to swap into a decent number of Vikings need be, or into Liberators need be. Colossus do not have extended thermal lance, so they're having a little bit tougher of a time against the army than you would expect. Both of them setting up some drops, some run-bys. HeRoMaRinE's drop going to go in 2 different places, one to the 3rd, one to the natural. And MaxPax's current dilemma is that he doesn't have a lot of supply to warp in defensively. It's all on the front lines right now, some of it pulling back on the right side. On the left, the main engagement is going equal. Not too much gained there from either side. The drops continue on, and they are going to be cleaned up by the looks of things without doing too much damage. 6 probes does not sound like a whole lot to me. At some point, 4 SCVs also went down. I think they were accidentally box selected with the main army. I think that's what happened. Because I saw some fighter SCVs. Making a couple more dead units, couple more dead probes might make this drop closing in on worth it. Still not sure it really was. Upgrades are, let's call them even at this point. 3-1 versus 2-2. And now the Protoss is moving away into shield upgrades as well as disruptors, which I think is currently what is really missing. To be honest, the Protoss army is a lot more vulnerable than you might expect without those disruptors buying time, buying space, threatening the Terran army. And we saw that the Protoss army, once it was really combated, once it was forced to tango, didn't look super comfortable. Sorry. Zealot run by, a momentary pause, 6 SCVs go down. HeRoMaRinE, I don't know if he's going to dedicate to a bunker here at any point. Ooh, repairing his Vikings, that's a nice touch. 57 workers, it's a wee bit low. I wouldn't feel super comfortable for HeRoMaRinE on that. Now, he's saturated all of his bases, but this just means he doesn't have a 5th, so that's still a concern. Army size definitely greater for HeRoMaRinE, with the lower worker count by about 20, but then also MaxPax not being maxed out yet. Doesn't want to fill his army with that many, like all Zealots. 10 Zealots were just warped in. They're going to provide a buffer for sure, but they're not exactly the strongest. They tank, but they can also be microed against. Want to fill that with maybe some more disruptors. 3 just popped out, so we're at a total of 5. Very close to being on the front lines. HeRoMaRinE is microing in multiple locations. Apparently not so much right here through this choke. I don't think that was on purpose, and then does not dodge away from the disruptors on the front lines, while also losing SCVs on the backside. This will be a MaxPax victory to tie things up. Force fields are Protoss' undiscovered super weapon? Buddy. Have you not lived through Wings of Liberty and Heart of the Swarm? Now tied up, moving on to Royal Blood. Bottom left it is MaxPax, top right it is HeRoMaRinE. Some weeks ago, we had HeRoMaRinE 3-0 MaxPax. He was on to all of his tricks. But then, just a few weeks before that, MaxPax 3-0 HeRoMaRinE. And 2-0'd him. And then there was a 3-2 in favor of MaxPax. So for a while, it looked like MaxPax was getting the better of HeRoMaRinE, and HeRoMaRinE struck back, and then some. But here we are, 2 weeks later-ish, 3 weeks, something like that. And it is a rather even contest. Last game was a bit topsy-turvy, you know, for HeRoMaRinE to go into, I mean, let's just call it a 3cc build. It's not the greediest, but yeah. Already made it very unique going up against the 4-gate blink. Nah, best word for it is very unique. HeRoMaRinE was at a disadvantage in the economy, but had a strong army and tried to use it effectively to try and get some damage done, but MaxPax handled it as well as one might expect. Just enough army on the right defending at third base, and then just enough army on the left. That was probably HeRoMaRine's strongest chance to get a lot of damage done, and it couldn't do it, so then we get into a late game scenario where pretty much I feel only Spirit really desires to go there. HeRoMaRinE saw the writing on the wall. He had no 5th base. He had no ultimate transition. His army had just been depleted as well as his economy even further, so of course he tapped out. But it was open until that point. HeRoMaRinE almost found a devastating attack. I forget when in that game, but when the Protoss army was on the run, that always gives you a lot of adrenaline as a Terran player. I did it! I did it! I did it! No, just kidding. I didn't do it. Zealots in the back, DTs in the main, disruptors in my face. Never mind. That's how it always goes. And now HeRoMaRinE is playing notably more cautionary. High ground command center and a Reaper opener. It's going to guarantee him safety and scouting. Even though he technically lived against that 4-gate blink, I'd still say that was a very dangerous thing to do. To not scout for it or think about it, I still would say that that was a open opportunity for the 4-gate player. And it was perhaps just one opportunity right before the bio count started to get higher. Sure, but there was one. I'll stick to that. I'll be stubborn about that one. Reaper sees a probe coming back from an odd direction, and that should be the biggest tell that something is going on here. Zealots, stalker harassment instead of Zealot adepts. And also be something, but more importantly, it's just the actually scouting the proxy gateway, you know. So continued aggression into Blink, into possibly 4-gate aggression. This has been something MaxPax has been doing. I'm going to still count that as a 4-gate build, so that's number 2. If it does go along this way perfectly. If he changes it up and go to charge, well, F you. It no longer sounds smart. And so the goal, I'd say right now for MaxPax, is just disruption. He is literally being like, I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. But it's still annoying. Because he's not really going to be able to do a whole lot. And he touched up the command center, I guess. But it's not able to punish. Not able to push into HeRoMaRine's wall and tank. but he's just gonna sit here and be like, ugh. So HeRoMaRinE is gonna actually do something. He's gonna go for a drop. Oh, he realized at the last second that tank was vulnerable. The SCVs try to repair it in time, but not gonna happen. Now that command center is gonna be further delayed. Now a lot more is gonna have to be done by this drop, but with the Hellion included, this probe pull away is, oh boy, ouchie bibbles. 5 probes go down, and that might just be it. 3 stalkers now instead of 4 is not looking particularly healthy, though. I don't know. One drop in a dream. Not enough army. Pulled back to help defend here. Now there's enough army, but 9 probes go down in total. Medevac skedaddles. Shield battery is going to finish in the main. And the aggression on the front lines is severely less. And all those units warped in back at home. 9 probes helps make up for a lot, I gotta say. That could have been handled. If that had been handled better. If only 4 probes died. I'd be very worried. But now we look at the worker count. And even if it was only 4 probes, that still means that MaxPax at the deficit. So yeah, actually. It's just about getting HeRoMaRinE's command center on location and actually getting those SCVs mining. With a 6 worker lead, Blink is done. 3 gateways, not 4. You know what? I'm still gonna count it. F you guys. Does he have enough army to defend? There is no robo. There's no warp prism, so we can't abuse the high grounds. And HeRoMaRinE would actually know this, just having gone up against him. I mean, he literally got everything scouted, so he literally does know. There is no warp prism. I don't have to worry about that. Ah, well, there's hallucinations, so that's my bad. Kind of forgot about that. Good thing HeRoMaRinE didn't. Good thing HeRoMaRinE is a much better gamer than I am. So his tank's position, we're gonna be just... They're gonna cover the natural, no problem, right? But that blink into the main was a little bit problematic if it wasn't for this tank also positioned back here. So that was really nicely done. HeRoMaRinE holds against the blink into the main. Now looking to hold in the natural. More stalkers come forward as MaxPax also continues to build probes. So this isn't completely all in, but it is required to do more. Needs to kill more than just 4 SCVs, especially as the auto turret comes in. Just kidding. Shield battery, easy peasy. Shield battery, good unit to have. Just eventually run through the energy, but yeah, the stalker count at 15 can't break through all the defenses of HeRoMaRinE. It's gonna need another hallucination to get up into the main. Sentry is available. It's gonna have hallucination in 10. And then maybe we could go after Stimmer combat shields. All right, it looks like HeRoMaRinE is anticipating some type of re-maneuvering, right? He did, by the way, go up to 2 ravens. 2. So he has 1 raven for harassment and 1 for back at home helping out. It's kind of neat. Not something I think any Terran was going to do on the old raven. Who said Phoenix sees too good of a defense? Because even if that was an immediate blink, and this tank was on siege, this tank was sieged. So, oh, he's gonna grab the Raven. Nice little bait there. I mean, it's something. But MaxPax still in a very difficult position. He's still not even ahead in workers. His 3rd Nexus is not yet finished. Time to watch MaxPax make the magic happen yet again. I mean, last game was certainly debatable. There was a lot that could have happened every which way we looked. But HeRoMaRinE was pushing with perhaps a superior army with a much inferior economy. No doubt about that last game. This time around, he has a superior economy and a superior army. So I feel like there's less like, huh, what, you know, maybe this, maybe that, maybe this. The only thing that's going to make it a maybe is if Storm is super, super freaking good. And MaxPax has made Storm look super freaking good. So let's see. It's not done, though. It's not going to be able to take advantage of any of these chokes that HeRoMaRinE has been pushing through. And once HeRoMaRinE's passed, basically that one. This one's not that bad. This one's not that bad. And then your tanks are now siege up hitting something important. So the Terran's already kind of happy. Oh, no tanks. Just kidding. Oh, there they are. So the Terran's already kind of happy with their positioning. So yeah, MaxPax is pretty screwed. If Storm was prepared instantaneously, He would have been storming here, and then here, and then here, and then causing stims, and so on and so forth, but... Now he's lost his third base. And his storms might save the day for his two bases, but, you know, without a third, how much life do you really have? Workers going down, nothing happening on the other side of the map. This Raven is even accumulating energy to get possibly an interference matrix on the War Prism. And you can see the spread right now from HeRoMaRinE, also looking to snipe the War Prism should it try and go for some juicy storm. And the last hurrah, that's a good storm. Those are good storms. Still not going to be enough. GG. In the top left, we have MaxPax. Bottom right, it is HeRoMaRinE. HeRoMaRinE able to wrap that last game up in a nice little bow. Really no complications. MaxPax had put himself in too poor of a position after everything went down. Ideal game for him. Bully the command center, eventually get forced back due to X, Y, or Z, handle it fine. Get back on the offensive pretty instantly. Get the stalkers blinking, grooving, all while building up your economy back at home. And then find that workable position that he often does. But with too much damage taken to the drop, with the further aggression, not finding enough, not starting that snowball effect, HeRoMaRinE was just going to dominate it. Stronger economy, stronger army, stronger upgrades, stronger technology. There's only so much that MaxPax could have done. If he had opted maybe for a bit of a Zealot run by, that still only would have bought him 10 more seconds. That means Storm might be able to abuse one of those chokes, but I think his third is still dead, right? Yeah, it's happening too fast. So not an ideal looking game for that type of aggression. MaxPax, not one to be deterred from being a little bit of... what does Pig call it? Captain Dickhead? His probe actually has given its life very often, so that's not so much a Captain Dickhead, actually. But he has gone for this early Zealot. Oh, he canceled it, so he was just wary of an Engineering Bay block that time. Okay. So never mind. Take away that title. He doesn't deserve it. Command center on location, off location. On the high ground again. Still points to HeRoMaRinE being defensive, being cautious. And he is going to go for an SCV scout. Maybe just around for the gateways. Is this actually how it's going to go? Is he proxying a starport? He's proxying a starport. That's what he's doing. Okay, I was like, is that the pathway? Also, that's a weird SCV timing. No. He's starporting. Starport. Okay, so Hellions it is. Hellions it is. Now, MaxPax is almost guaranteed. I mean, especially with MaxPax always being a player who does this, is going to guaranteed scout the reactor factory. That already puts it in your head. Are they proxy starporting me? And he might even see the Hellions. Now, if he sees the Hellions might kill his Adept. That's one less unit for Protoss unit to have to deal with this. And really one of the key problems that they have so few units to deal with it. But now here's the question mark as he sees the Hellions. Is it a proxy starport? Is it 4 Hellions? Is it 2 into 2 Widow Mines? The way these Hellions move will give him a slight indication. His Adept is not going to die. Can't really tell too much about the Hellions with that, though. They were just chasing the Adept, weren't they? MaxPax, even if he figures out that it is a proxy starport, you can see that he is looking to the top. He doesn't know if it's top or bottom. Well, now he knows that it's not top. So that's still nice information. And it looks like this Adept is trying to find the bottom starport, which it will as soon as the Hellions are ready to go, which is still nice. Oh, shit, I thought I was going to miss it. It's still nice. It's going to confirm the Stalker should be in the natural. He's going to try and pull the other parts of his army to the natural as fast as possible as well. Shield battery helping a tremendous amount. Medevac already below half health, but now a little bit more open to the main base. 3 Hellions still one-shot those probes. Shield battery is going to cover only a finite amount of them, and that is 9 probes, 10, should just be 10. And also a scout into the main. Sees nothing but 2 gateways and a warp prism. Never be sure with MaxPax. There could be a gateway out on the map, though. Now, I've always talked about 3 gateways still having a potential attack. You know, 4 is 4. 4 is really dedicated. 4 is really aggressive. 3, you can kind of pick and choose. It can even be used defensively. 2 is way more often just an expand. Just an expand. So this really shouldn't be very scary. But as I said, HeRoMaRinE doesn't know if he missed gateways over here. Or there's a gateway over here. Something like that. So he's got to take this seriously. And while he's taking this seriously, he might not be getting a Raven. Now, I think that would be an awfully big mistake to make, especially in this patch. But even prior to this patch, it's MaxPax. Like, although I say it's MaxPax, that means 4-gate or... yeah, I'm not gonna go for it. That's 4-gate or DTs. So if he's thinking still that it's a 4-gate, then he's not thinking DTs. Okay, I could see how that would work, but now with the new patch, I just think getting a Raven is almost always a no-brainer. The only thing that you'd be a little questionable about is going up against Phoenix. Oh no. Oh no, he's not gonna get a Raven. It's so cheap and it builds so fast. Wow, MaxPax, I argue, is getting... Wait. He's gonna go for these. Okay, there it is. Whew. But he's also... Maybe he's not lucky. 50 energy is now available. It's still only on the main command center, though. This is still a big surprise to HeRoMaRinE. He's gonna take damage. 8, 9 workers already killed. Scan does take down both DTs. No, the one went to the natural. And now that DT is gonna get a tank. A couple of SCVs. And HeRoMaRiNE's just gonna be chuckling at his not getting a Raven thing. Oh. Well, it's so likely that he'd get a Raven that he would assume that MaxPax would assume he'd have a Raven, so he doesn't bother getting a... Okay, I'm done. This is... Yeah, I would say even a bit lucky. Just how popular Ravens are now. That was not supposed to be the way it went. 12 workers killed in total puts MaxPax ahead by 12 workers, which is great. Only up against 2 mules at a time. Further delay on any type of push as well, since you do have to go over and build that Raven, then build the reactor, then build the medevacs, and you don't really want to push without medevacs. So MaxPax has some time. He's got the Warp Prism still, of course, too, so he knows he can always dip in with that again. And HeRoMaRiNE's a bit less happy with how this game has gone. What was it, 9 probes to begin with? 10? 10 is, it's okay for that proxy. I find it difficult to find a lot of games so the Protoss doesn't take less than 7 or 8, actually, even if they know it's on the way. So I'd say no smiles, but a solid nod of the head, you know, on the medevac Henlian drop from HeRoMaRiNE. But now that he's taken so much damage to the DTs, now it's Gonna make the more German Okay. So I think really the most painful thing about this is the amount of time now it takes for HeRoMaRiNE to be back on the map. Finally gonna be ready to go. The medevacs are about to pop out. MaxPax has hopefully used his time wisely. It looks like he has. 2 Colossus already out, 3rd one on the way. Looking to meet this attack. So that he'll pop the interference matrix, pop a stim, get force fielded. And that's exactly what's happening. At least the stim's happening. Good conservation on the Raven, but then it goes down anyways. Absolutely worth for MaxPax. Take that out of the equation. Even if it costs him a couple of stalkers. And this is not looking like HeRoMaRiNE's game, as he also gets dropped in the main base with Zealots. Now a 3rd Colossus joins in, and HeRoMaRiNE might just go ahead and tap out. Gonna give it one last go, try and kill this army with a good spread. His tanks are still alive. Still very threatening in this army composition prior to charge lots being involved. But now those charge lot numbers are growing. 10 SCVs have died. I mean, why not just pull the SCVs? Like, why not? More time is passing. Tanks left behind as HeRoMaRinE tries to set up a double drop while also reinforcing the main army. So let's go back into the main base. Of course they do. Okay, that zealot just confirmed the tanks are still there, but oh! Hey, just kidding. Drop in the natural happens. Almost a perfect gotcha moment there from HeRoMaRinE. Not really doing a whole lot yet, though. Zealots jump on top of the tanks before their siege. 2 of them out of the equation now. Only 2 left over. 1 is not even at its full potential. The shield battery protecting the Colossus will do the trick on the front lines, and we are going to get a game number 5. Now they're perfectly even. Balanced. As all things should be. The last map, altitude. In the bottom left, it is MaxPax. Top right, we have HeRoMaRinE. From what I've heard, this is not a very good map for Terran. So, I don't know the map pool well enough yet to say what was vetoed. Maybe you guys can figure it out and put it in chat. But I'm a bit surprised to see it. I guess the other map that was vetoed was the map with the Rich Vespian Geyser in the middle. That weird one. And then Babylon? Did I do it? Did I do it? Am I a real pro caster? Definitely wasn't on the weird one, so I got that one right. Yeah, but you know, some of the reasons that it's not really likable, well, really the biggest reason it's not really likable is that it is huge. It's a big map. It's a big map. Whose rush distance, I think, is a bit questionable. I'd love to actually get this figured out. I was watching a PvP, totally not important to this. But that's how I do. That's how I cast. And Showtime's Oracle, no, Phoenix, is coming across the map to try and combat a Protoss's Oracle. And usually on a lot of maps, you send that Phoenix across the map immediately. It catches the Oracle because of the way the openers worked out, where their Stargate's a bit later, right? And it didn't on this map. But the rush distance of this map is the same as Cosmic Sapphire. That is ground. Main ramp to main ramp. That's rush distance. Someone was like, what if the air is different? And I was like, I guess that's possible, right? 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 I still haven't tested it. Anyways, back to this more important thing. Yeah, it's a large map. So Protoss have a decent amount of time to recover should things go wrong. Clem said that he feels okay on this map if he gets a lot of map control early on, if he grabs these 2 Xel'Nagas especially, and he feels like he can control the narrative. But the larger the map, the more time it takes for a Terran to actually get their reinforcements across the map to capitalize on moments. It also is often a lot of times where there are more attack paths and run-by paths for Zealot run-bys, which we know are going to be big in this matchup. Stargate opener from MaxPax, by the way. And then the 5th base on this map, should it go into a longer TVP, are quite far away and quite difficult to defend. So those would be some of the reasons that a Terran would not like playing on this map. HeRoMaRinE is gone 1x expand, Reaper, so he's getting the scout, and you will see the Stargate eventually. Woo! He actually has not seen it. He has not seen it, and there is no adepts. Oh, there was one adept who went across the map. But there is no extra adept to, again, kind of start to lean more towards a possible Stargate opener. So this has worked out to potentially bamboozle HeRoMaRinE, guys. So the adept's gonna die. She's gonna get one last scout, her last breath, see a 1-1-1 setup. She did that before she died, but you know what I mean. And that would usually default to being a Widowmine drop. However, we do see that there is a tech lab added. A Raven is on the way. I don't believe this is because HeRoMaRinE realized it's a Stargate. I don't think he can possibly know for a fact it's a Stargate. Yeah, there's nothing I can see here. And again, Depth Stalker happens more often with a Twilight Council opener or Robo opener. And would you really dive towards a Raven opener if you knew it was Phoenix? There's that that whole conversation between the Koreans and the foreigners. Now, he knows it's Phoenix. He's already about done with the Raven, though, and since it has started to be included in general, it's not a big deal to, you know, not cancel it. And it's not like he was going to get a lot done with a Medivacs anyways. Conceptually. Again, there's always a chance Medivac is away from the Phoenix. But this Raven is not going to live, and that is a bad start for HeRoMaRinE. I'm wondering if his plan was to go into even multiple Ravens. I don't know about that. I'm spitballing here because I was going to talk about some of the dead space. There's a lot of dead space on all the new maps where you can set a Raven here, or much more importantly, you can set the Raven here, and then it can attack up here or over here. Even here, it can attack from multiple locations, so the Stalkers are almost never in position. A shield battery is pretty good if they can afford it, and Stalkers now kill auto turrets faster, so if they have units at home, it's not that big of a deal, but if it's abusable, it's abusable, right? There's also apparently a double Raven opener against Colossus builds that Cure did, that I have not seen yet, but I want to go back and watch. Where someone went Phoenix Colossus and then he went double Raven. So I don't know. But I think HeRoMaRinE is the one that has had to adjust more so than his opponents, and MaxPax has gotten more damage done to his opponent as well, right? So seems like a good game for MaxPax. Could be taking this best of 5. So what do we have actually coming across the field right now? A little ragtag group of units. That's 7 Phoenix in the air, looking for an opportunity to pick up something important. If they cannot, they're still building energy and will help out on the defensive anyways. It's a large map, already went through that. So MaxPax has had plenty of time to get this Colossus over here. Set up some spotters on the left side as well. You can see all these pylons, which, shaken out one at a time, would get annoying for MaxPax's supply. They are part of his supply, yep, for sure. It's unlikely to happen before 7 minutes, before medevacs are out, before the armies are moving and grooving. So it's free scouting, man. And what is HeRoMaRinE's plan? I guess just waiting for the medevacs to arrive. Phoenix gonna grab it. Or they could. I'm gonna go for the Marines instead. What the hell did it attack? Oh, I guess he was trying to focus fire the Phoenix and hit the rocks accidentally. Yeah, that's a pretty good army against what HeRoMaRinE has. Take the tank out of the equation. 2 Colossus, especially with the Guardian Shield. Gonna take care of any amount of Marines. Oh, almost any amount of Marines. And what do we have going on elsewhere? What am I drop? Is gonna get a decent number of probes. Actually, that's 2 what am I's. Getting a decent amount of probes. 14 in total went down there, so that was A+. That's exactly what HeRoMaRinE needed to happen, actually. He was not having a good game up until that. And this is with an armory. Yeah, very fast armory. So the Observer has to make its way over. Lost mining time, army pulled back, all that good stuff. And the medevac even is able to escape. So HeRoMaRinE is gonna be very, very thankful for the Wood-of-Mine drops. This third one, not as effective, but still pretty freaking effective. And the medevac could have gotten away too. Could have, woulda, shoulda. The 3 Wood-of-Mines have to be taken care of with the Observer still moving it. What does it do? It boosts over, it floats over. It cuttlefishes over. Oh, no, not a cuttlefish. No, wait, yes, a cuttlefish. Squids its way over. Anyways. We have the pylons out being cleaned up, which, as I said, is annoying. You're going to see MaxPax actually get supply blocked because of this. But for the very beginning of the game, where everything was lining up perfectly, this made sure he didn't get immediately double dropped. Now it's, as the game has continued on, and not too bad. Apparently it's a pretty bad supply block, though. I mean, he's really not fixing it particularly quickly. He's focusing on the Phoenix micro, which is fighting a lot. I see a disturbing lack of Marines in this army. There's 27 Marines somewhere. Here they come. Those Phoenix just had a ball. We have a little bit of this and that. I mean, we're just like... HeRoMaRiNE's Winomines made up for a lot in this game. So it's like one big thing impacting this game versus a lot of littler things impacting the game. Right now, MaxPax is the one that's affecting more little things. How many Phoenix has he gotten killed? Just one. So it's been pretty good Phoenix control. Fourth base is on the way. I don't even know what to anticipate as far as the expansion pattern goes, so I'm just gonna say okay. Yeah, all right, yeah. This makes some sense. I think the Terran is most likely to push down to the right side, because that's where they expanded. So they usually want to push from the place they expand. So even, well, you might say like, well, why does it make sense? Like, why don't they just take this base? They're never going to hit. Well, this base would be farther away in terms of defending kind of two places at once. You can defend two places at once right here. And, you know, if they come all the way around here, well, that's... Okay, you gotta figure that one out. But it's not the same as having to pull all the way to the left side if they decide to drop. So yeah, I think it does make sense. No pylons on the left side and no observers means the single Marine drop could do some nice probe damage. There's a cannon and shield battery though, so that's gonna buy some time. MaxPax had a pretty good supply. HeRoMaRiNE ditto. Both of them working to similar upgrades. And we have ourselves a nice little mid-game PVT. Well, that's not enough zealots being warped in. Phoenix is going to come help return, to help deal with that. And then an attack from HeRoMaRiNE is going to pounce on top of this fourth base. Yeah, I think you got to evacuate. I am with MaxPax right here. He was walking into a bad situation, man. He wasn't taking advantage of his own high ground or the choke that the ramp provided. He was up against someone who had a decent number of Vikings with only really Colossus to depend on. No disruptors. Ground army need to be buffed up a little bit. Now it's here, but... You can see the struggle. This 4 Colossus can't go too far forward. They're always in the Viking range. The Vikings are now more microable. Probes are going down as well. I'm not sure where. Gonna take a look at that elsewhere another time. As this is could be the game-ending moment. Where did 14 probes go down? I have no idea. Okay, well, 14 probes did go down. Colossus going down too. Now the Archons are getting some shots on these Vikings, so they're not too far from death, and 3 Colossus is still pretty nice to have. Do we have any disruptors on the way? I feel like that is definitely missing. 1 Robo, 2 Templar Archives, so MaxPax has been messing up a little bit everywhere. And now without a 4th base and a lower worker count, he's going to struggle to rebuild that army. It's not impossible, but it'll be difficult. Blink only just now on the way, not that he had enough Stalkers to really utilize that. That was another problem he was facing against that high number of Vikings. Disruptors are finally coming out, but, you know, one at a time. Oh, nicely played Stalkers. Gonna be punishing that. So that's another reason you might not want to take a triangle base, is you can go to the hip-hop, hippity-bip-bip-bip-bip. But if you anticipate that, then that's pretty good. And MaxPax is starting to stabilize. Now he's stabilizing, but he's not thriving. HeRoMaRiNE is moving over to his 4th base, turned into a planetary, as MaxPax has yet to rebuild his 4th. So that's not great. But MaxPax is at least also perfecting his army. I mean, well, that might be a bit of an exaggeration. He's stuck on +2 as HeRoMaRiNE is on 2-1. And his Archons are going to get increasingly more vulnerable the more ghosts come out. So you usually want more, basically, Disruptor Stalker, actually. So it's definitely not perfect, but I mean, it can stand its ground. It can have its moment in the spotlight. I would be super cautious as MaxPax for being aggressive, though. He can't exactly not be aggressive. He can't just always be back on his back foot, but... That is a difficult game of StarCraft he has to play right now. HeRoMaRiNE does walk face first into the army. I'm surprised to see it, I guess. While also being harassed, Zealots jump on top of the factory, which is exactly why the factory was there. It gave him an alert. And now that Blink is done, we can finally have more of a dance between the Stalkers and the Vikings. Workers going down to the main base as well. MaxPax has set up his 1-2 punch, and HeRoMaRiNE is struggling right now. That's a lot of Zealots in the main base, trying to get that concave on the front lines. EMPs want to slap down before the fight even really begins. Decent decent split away from that Disruptor, and a Colossus just lost its life, but SCV's dying in the main base, making this more all-in for HeRoMaRinE. Is he going to take this fight or not? So many Archons available, and holy shit, that was close to the Disruptor. Oh my god. Oh my goodness, that was way too close for comfort. Yeah, the Archons, yes, they are vulnerable to the EMPs, but there's so many of them, and the EMP is less than it would be at 14.5 minutes. Usually by now would have enhanced shockwave, so keep that in mind. The Archons are just outnumbering, is the current problem. Finally, the Warp Prism in the main has been cleared up. HeRoMaRinE did not lose so many SCVs that he's in trouble. He's actually perfectly fine. Still on 4 command centers, 3 orbitals, and working again on his upgrades to continue having a lead. It's about to even up for 30 seconds, but eventually there'll be a lead. MaxPax no longer interested in having Colossus in his army. Now HeRoMaRinE has somewhat useless Vikings in the sky. They ain't bad on the ground, of course, but it's so much more about Stalker, Archon, Disruptor. Shield Battery's gonna be taken out of this particular engagement, but I don't think MaxPax necessarily needs it. It would be an awfully big help, though. I mean, you want it. Might not need it. Disruptors might do the trick. Zealots once again hitting the 3rd base, but this time HeRoMaRinE is totally prepared, dodging and weaving away from those Disruptors. Count them out. Are all of them out of juice? I think that was 3 out of 4, actually. I'm not sure. I don't know if HeRoMaRinE is counting. EMP hits the army. Still no shield battery being replaced. MaxPax could afford it, but he can't afford it with the APMs. Apparently what's happening. And Disruptors, I mean, they've been getting a little bit almost every time, despite the nerf to them. So they have actually been doing a good job here. It's been a longer battle than HeRoMaRinE really wanted to have. And now we have an attempt at a run-by, we'll call it that, from HeRoMaRinE on the 4th base of MaxPax, but he was preparing for it, had the Xel'Nagas, actually. Or at least this one, which HeRoMaRinE has not picked up on, so that's a bit problematic. But even as HeRoMaRinE started to lose out bit by bit on this particular attack, he is starting to win on the left side. That is just too much bio for MaxPax to take care of, especially without any splash to help him or shield batteries to help him. So his army size is looking quite bad. His economy is once again terrible. He needs that 4th base. HeRoMaRinE thriving on 4 bases, going up to 5 Marauders at a time. 3-2 is going to finish up the drop the main, this time not denied. Might just be the kill move. It's going to be in a particularly gruesome location, all tucked in the corner like this. The Disruptors have to come back to actually deal with something like this, which means they're not in the front line, and that's not even enough Stalkers to punish a potential escape, so just get out of there. Why not? 50 army supply lead for HeRoMaRinE, upgrade lead, all the leads. The only thing he needs to do is run away from Disruptor shots. 1 Liberator even posing a problem. Helping to take out the Archon. There's more Terran forces coming through here. MaxPax brought it to game 5, but he is not going to get this open cup. It belongs to Big Gabe. I don't know what number it is. The 1000th. There it is. GG. HeRoMaRinE, 3-2. Another great performance.